In this video, I'm going to be talking about something that a lot of you guys have asked me for, and that's employment stuff. And particularly in this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 ways that you can get a raise in the current job you're in. You're working as a project manager or some other position, and you're thinking to yourself, I need more money. Like we all do. We all need more money. So let's take a look at 5 ways that you can go request a raise and hopefully you get it. I'm Andrew Ramdiel, and a lot of you guys know I'm the PMP author and I do a lot of PMP stuff. But a little background on my other side of me that you guys don't get to hear too much about is that I am the CEO of TIA Education Group, which holds the Technical Institute of America, TIA School of Health. I currently manage and employ a little over 150 employees across 3 locations that are virtual stuff. I run a medical school, a technology school, and so on. So I have employed many people, hundreds of people over the last 12 years. I've dealt with hundreds of employees and about 60,000 in-person students that I've dealt with over the years. So in these series of videos I'm going to be making coming up is really going to help you with your employment. And a lot of it is going to be based on my experience dealing with people, especially employees, from a manager perspective or boss's perspective. So with that in mind, let's get going. So the first thing I want to start off with is you got to understand when you're in a business, when you're working for a business, you have to understand a simple fact. A business should be paying, as good companies are bad ones, should be paying you for what you're worth to that business. And what does that mean? Well, if you're working in a business that's generating, let's say, a small amount of revenue, let's say like $1 million worth of revenue, you're not going to get, you as an individual, they'll never pay you 50% of that. You never make $500,000 there. You're probably lucky to get $100,000 out of that job, because by the time they pay the other employees, by the time they pay their expenses, their advertising expense, their rent expense, their office supplies expense, insurance, taxes, and so on, they probably don't have much left. So you gotta understand that for a business to really pay you a certain amount of salary, the business has to be able to generate that. So when I say something like, what are you worth to the business? What is the business worth to you? All right, you got to think about, well, how much money is this business is making, and can it even be sustainable? So that's something I want to just get off right off the bat. Remember something, a company can only pay you what you're worth to them. It's the point I'm trying to make. They can't pay you what you're not worth to them. Your skills right now may be worth $500,000 in a Fortune 1000 company, but your skills is only worth $100,000 to me because I'm a much smaller business than they are. And your skills may only be worth $30,000 in an even smaller business. So you got to remember what you're worth to them, and also think about what they're worth. And let's get into the 5 things. So let's say you're working for a business, you're trying to gain a little bit more money. What are the 5 things that you can do right now to get a raise? Even if it's a small raise, it's still a raise. So let's get started. Number 1 is I want you to take the initiative. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means just don't do your normal job. If you're going to work and you have a job description that says A, B, C, D, and all you're doing every single day is just A, B, C, D, then they'll always pay you for just A, B, C, D. Generally speaking, a company is going to give you a good raise when you can produce something that is more valuable to them. For example, if you're doing a job, you're getting paid $100,000 and you're thinking, well, I want to make $120,000. Then what could you be doing more to justify that additional $20,000? So I'll give you a couple examples. And I said I'm going to use my experience a lot for this because people always ask me for raises. And I say to them, not all the time, but this always goes through my head. Okay, this guy wants this much more, or he thinks he should be getting this much more. But is he bringing in that much more or saving me? See, a company is going to pay you for how much revenue you can bring in or how much revenue you can save them. At the end of the day, it's the bottom line, right? How do you increase your net income? Either increase your income or decrease your expense, or both. So I say to myself, but how much more is this person doing? What else more can this person offer me? But your boss don't know that. If you're sitting at a job right now and you are just doing your normal job, nothing changed, Nothing. I mean, you didn't do anything extra for that business. You didn't take any initiative to go out and do new jobs, even if you're not being paid for it. Then why should the company give you a raise? If they're paying you above minimum wage, by law, they don't need to give you any raise because you haven't showed them that you're worth more to them. Always remember, you got to show that you got to go to these bosses. They have to realize that, you know what? This person is worth more than me. So this is why I'm going to put this as number one. Okay? Take initiative. I want you guys right now, let's come up with an action plan. Here's what I want you guys to do right now. Look around your office. Look around your space. All right? Say to yourself, what extra can I do? Now, don't worry about money yet. Money will come later. Look around your office space. Say to yourself, can I help this person with this? Can I help the boss with this? Can I go to the boss and say, can you give me this extra work? Can I work on an offsite project? Can I work on a project maybe in the evenings or the weekends? You're not going to be paid for this. You're not asking for money. You're trying to prove yourself. You're taking the initiative to go out there and actually do the work that they know you're capable of. Maybe you are capable of this and maybe do a great job at it. So I want you to start basically doing extra work in the office, showing them why you are worth so much more than that $100,000 that they're paying you. You're worth much more than that $60,000 that they're paying you. All right. Now, if you're not going to show them that you're worth more, why should they pay you more if they're paying you above minimum wage? That's going to be the question. Number two, maintain a positive attitude. I can't emphasize this enough. In your organization, okay, you have to have positive relationships with the boss, with coworkers, with customers, with vendors. All the stakeholders in the organization, you have to maintain a positive relationship. Oh, Bob wants a raise, but Bob doesn't get along with no one. Mary wants a raise, she gets along with everyone. Everybody likes Mary in the office. When it comes up for a raise, nobody objects because they personally like you. So positive relationships, don't create enemies, and don't ever deal with office politics. This is something that plagues every organization, including my own. You know what happens when you play office politics? This is talking crap behind people's back. Oh, Mary, oh, she's no good. I don't like her. Bob, oh, he's no good. I don't like him. He messed that up. Don't do this. Don't get into it. Stay away from it. Never talk bad against people behind their back. This is office politics, right? What you're going to do is be a positive relationship, be a positive influence, keep a smile on your face. No matter what happens, you maintain good relationship. Even if you hate the damn boss, you maintain a positive relationship. At the end of the day, that's the guy that's going to determine whether you get a raise or not. So if you go against that person, if you are going to bad talk that person, trust me, information has a way of finding its way back to the person you least expect it to. Sometimes, I tell employees this, these walls can speak and can listen. So you got to be careful with that positive relationship throughout your entire. So that way you can always apply for a raise and you're going to get it. Let's take a look at number 3 now. Number 3, this is a common sense one. If you follow me, you know this. This is keep learning, keep advancing your skills. I want you guys to, the days that you get off, the weekends, dedicate a small portion, a few hours on Saturday, a few hours on Sunday, not both days, just one of the days. And I want you to learn something new, not something that you know already. Learn something new that can either enhance your current job or that can put you in a new role. So let's say you're a programmer right now, you're a hardcore coder, right? You write code. Maybe you can start learning more about project management so you can start managing the coders. Maybe you're a project manager. Maybe you should start learning more about program management so you can start managing project managers. You should be learning on a consistent basis. Again, the company is going to pay you for what you're worth. If you are worth $100,000, you'll probably never really exceed that. How do you update your worth? Your worth goes up based on your skill. There is a direct correlation. I can't pronounce that word. There's a direct interaction, I should say, between the skills you have and the worth you have. So I have 63 certifications, right? 64 now. 64 certifications. I know a lot of stuff. So my worth is pretty high, right? Why is my worth high? Because my skill level is high. Now, what if I didn't have 63? What if I had one certification? Then my skill level is here. My worth's going to be here. You want your worth to go up, you have to gain new skills. And when you gain new skills, you should announce, you should let people know. I tell my employees this all the time. Let me know. Let the people know. Let your direct manager know. What do I mean by that? I'll give you an example. There was a receptionist we had, and there's a director at one of these locations that we own. And he was taking all these networking IT courses, and he never told us anything. Never told us anything. He passed these exams all by himself. And then he basically came to me one day, the director at that location, and says, I'm leaving. I found a job. And we said, oh, what happened? Right? I don't want to lose this guy. He's really good. And I said, oh, well, why are you leaving? What's the story? You found another receptionist? No, he said, no, I got a job as a technician somewhere. And I said, great. We had an opening for a technician. I said, what are they paying you? They were paying him $21 an hour. I said, we pay our technicians $23 an hour. And he said, oh, okay, I'll stay with you, Andrew. So he stayed. We paid him. This was a terrible mistake on his part. And I told my employees this. When you are doing courses, when you are updating your skills and you're gaining more skills, let your manager know. You see Bob, let's say Bob is your manager. You're walking down a hallway. Bob is coming down the hallway. You see Bob and you say, hey, Bob, how you doing? How's your family? Blah, blah, blah. A little small talk. And he says, yeah, man, my weekend, just sneak it in there. Hey, my weekend, I'm taking this course on the weekend, trying to get more skills in this field. And Bob, listen to Bob's response. Listen to your manager's response. Either they're going to say, oh, that's great. Or they're going to say, oh, maybe you can move to this department. No employer wants to let a good employee go. Always remember that, unless they're going out of business. No employer wants to let you go. If you're really good, nobody wants to let you go, period. Don't think otherwise, unless that company is run by idiots. All right? If I know that I got an employee that's always updating their skills, that can add more, quote unquote, value to my business, can become more, why would I want to let that person go? I'm not stupid, right? So this person has taken initiative to do extra work. They're very positive. They're always learning. They're updating their skills. Why would I want to let this person go? So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Let's move into this. So that story with that receptionist, that person started out with minimum wage, was up to $23 an hour within 8 months or so, which was really amazing. That person took a giant. Why? Because this person learned. Try this on your part. All right, let's take a look at number 4 is set goals with your company. What does that mean? I want you to have schedule a meeting with your direct supervisor or whoever your boss is, whether it's the CEO, the CFO, a director, a manager, it doesn't matter. I want you to go in there and I want you to do the top 3. Okay, do those 3 first and then do this. And I want you to say to them, let's say it's Mary is your manager. Say, Mary, I'm advancing myself. I'm taking all these initiatives. I'm learning. The positive attitude, by the way, is more discretion. You really can't say I have a positive attitude, but I'm learning. I'm doing all these things extra. Mary, I would love to know what I can do in this organization to make $150,000. Right now, I'm making $100,000. I want a 50% raise. I don't want it now. I don't want it next week. Nobody's forcing me to do this. I'm just seeing how can I, accomplish this in this business? What should I be learning? What path should I be going? Now, Mary's going to like you already because you got that positive attitude. You're doing a lot of extra things. You always learn. Say, Mary, you know what? I'm taking these extra courses on the side. You think that's right? You think that's wrong? You're showing incentive. If an employee comes to me and tell me this, I'll be like, wow, that's amazing because nobody does this, right? Only the very best or the people that really deserve will actually do it. How can I get up to this? If the company is any good, they'll give you that path. They'll say, okay, if you want to make this kind of money, here's what you need to do. All right, here are the steps. Here's what you need to take these classes. You need to get these skills. You need to get this experience. Maybe you want to transfer a department or something. They should be willing to work with you. So speak with the company. Speak with HR. Speak with your manager. Let them know what you want. Don't hold. No one is going to give you what you want if they don't know what you want. Okay? And the last thing, number 5, is going to be set reasonable expectations personally. Know what I mean by that? Set reasonable expectations personally. Listen, if you are currently making $60,000, don't think you're going to get up to $200,000 in a year or two. That the ladder to big bucks takes time. The people making the big bucks, 100, maybe not 100 anymore. It's New York City, by the way. 150, 200, $250,000. These people have years and years of experience. C-class executives making $500,000 has massive education, crazy experience. You got to set realistic expectations for yourself. If you are looking for a 10% or a 20% raise, it may be reasonably good. You're making 100 grand, you can get to 110, you can get to 120, you can get to 130. Those are really reasonable, in my opinion, anyhow. But if you're making 100 grand and you think you're going to double it in a year, that's not reasonable. Unless something drastically changes, like you change the entire role, you learn something amazing, some big technology thing happened in your industry, a disruption of some kind in your industry, your job, your company, whatever. It's not reasonable. And what you're doing is you're stressing yourself out for no reason. What you need to do is set reasonable expectations. You got to say to yourself, is it unreasonable for me to actually make 10% more if I gain these skills? Hopefully your company understands. Now, I'm telling you this is really important because I've had some people come to me and say, Andrew, and I encourage people, I have an open door policy. My door is not locked. In fact, the door is open. So I tell people, come to me and ask, you want to raise this, ask me. But I've had some people ask me some pretty ridiculous things. And I tell them, listen, that's not reasonable. The position you're in. And for example, a medical instructor coming to me and telling me, let's say that medical instructor is making $10 an hour. I don't pay anybody $10 an hour, but let's just go with that. They want $10 an hour. And then they say to me, well, I want $50 an hour. Well, that's a 5-time increase. This is beyond what anybody would ever pay for this position. So if you're going to ask for the highest paid in the entire history of the world in that position, that's not being reasonable. Because then what you're doing is you're setting yourself up internally for never achieving a goal. You're setting yourself up internally for 100% likely failure. And you're going to be depressed. Why should you do that? Don't do that. Okay, so those are my 5 things. Once again, let's do a quick review. Number 1, you want to take that initiative, start doing extra work around your office, start showing them that you want to raise, start showing them that you are the most valuable person in that business. Number 2, maintain a positive attitude. No office politics. Stay away from it. Don't deal with it. Don't talk bad about anybody. Even if you hate people, you just talk good about them. If you have nothing good to say, shut up. Number 3, keep learning. Keep learning. Buy my book, for God's sake. Learn your PMP. If you got your PMP, well, I don't have much more to help you personally, but there's a lot of other courses. PMI-ACP. Take out the classes, PGMP. I don't know. Agile. Whatever you need to do. Set goals with your company. Sit down. Number 4, meet with your HR, meet with your manager. Set the goal that you want. Number 5, have reasonable expectations on the raises that you can get. Okay, guys, if you have more ways that can help the viewers of this video, do me a favor, put it in the chat box. I would love to hear your experience. Tell me what you did to get a raise. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe the viewers of this video is missing something. Maybe you got something that I don't know. Remember, I'm coming at it from a manager perspective. You can tell me from a actual employee perspective. You could do that. Put it in the chat box. If you really like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I got some really cool employment videos coming that's really going to help you land that perfect job. And I'll see you in the next video.